In the figure above, the dashed lines show equipotential lines of an unknown charge distribution. These equipotentials are concentric circles starting at radius r equals a, where r is the distance from the center of the concentric circles and a is a positive constant in meters. The potential difference between the consecutive circles is 10 volts, with the equipotential at r equals a being 10 volts, r equals 2a is 20 volts, and so on. And in part A, between r equals a and r equals 6a, the radial component of the electric field, which creates this potential distribution, is either one of these options. We'll recall that the electric field is minus the derivative of the potential energy function, so in this case, the electric field depends on r and acts in a radial direction. So given that the potential keeps increasing by 10 volts, and a positive radial vector points outwards, we see the derivative with respect to r is constant and positive. So essentially the derivative is, for example, 60 minus 50 volts, which is 10 volts, on 6a minus 5a, or a. So the electric field is constant and points inwards. Now in part B, between r equals a and r equals 6a, the magnitude of the radial component of the electric field, which creates this potential distribution, is one of these options. So recall our electric field is minus the derivative of the potential function in the radial direction. So given the derivative is constant, then the magnitude of the radial component of the electric field remains constant. Now assume that the circles represent the cross sections of spheres, so the equipotentials are spherical surfaces, and r represents the radius in a spherical coordinate system. Could this distribution of spherical equipotentials correspond to a point charge? We'll recall that the potential due to a point charge is Coulomb's constant by the charge by the distance from the charge to the point where the potential is determined. So as we can see, the derivative of v with respect to r is not constant, so the electric field is not constant, and recall that the difference between the potentials is constant, so we have 10 volts, 20 volts and so on. So therefore this distribution of spherical equipotentials cannot correspond to a point charge. Now in part D, as an alternative, consider filling the space with a spherically symmetric charge distribution with volume charge density that's proportional to r to a power of some constant, which can be positive, negative or 0, where 0 corresponds to a uniform charge density. Can such a distribution produce this pattern of equipotentials? And if so, find n. So as a hint, consider how the two sides of Gauss's law change if you consider two very close Gaussian spheres of radius r and r plus dr. So using Gauss's law, we have the derivative of the electric flux through a spherical surface being E by 4 pi by r squared with respect to r is equal to 1 over the permittivity of free space by the derivative of the integral that determines the total charge. So we have the integral of the charge density being some constant by r to the n by 4 pi r squared dr. So recall that we take a spherical shell as our Gaussian surface with a thickness dr, and we'll take the radius of this surface as a dummy variable. So we have r prime and integrating over r prime, and we integrate from 0 to r to get the charge distribution in the volume that's enclosed by the surface. So using the product rule and taking the constants outside the derivative, we have the derivative of E with respect to r by r squared. So using the product rule, and then we differentiate the second term. So we have E by 2r, and that's equal to 4 pi rho naught on epsilon naught. So we took the constants outside the integral, and then the derivative of the integral is simply the integrand. So we end up with r to the power of n plus 2. And for a constant change in electric potential, the electric field is constant, so therefore this derivative is 0, and dividing through by 4 pi gets rid of this term, and dividing through by 2r, we get r to the n plus 1 on 2. So for a constant electric field, the electric field can't depend on r, and therefore n is equal to minus 1. And now let's do part E. Assume that the circles in the figure are cross-sections of very long cylinders, so the equipotentials are cylindrical surfaces, and R represents the radius in the cylindrical coordinate system. Which of the following charge distributions could produce an electric potential distribution represented by the equipotential shown in the figure? So here we'll just apply Gauss's law. So we have E, where the electric field points radially outwards from the cylinder. So the flux through the surface is E by 2 pi r by the length of the cylinder, and that's equal to 1 on epsilon naught by the total charge in the cylinder. So recall we integrate our charge density, which is proportional to r to the n, and here our volume element is obtained using thin cylindrical shells. So these have a radius r prime, and the volume of the cylindrical shell is 2 pi by r prime l by the differential thickness of the shell. So if we evaluate this integral from naught to the radius of the cylinder, and first we'll divide through by the constants, so 2 pi cancels, l cancels, and we're left with E by r is equal to rho naught on epsilon naught, and we're left with r prime to the n plus 1. So integrating this and substituting for r, we get r to the n plus 2 on n plus 2, and dividing through by r, we get r to the n plus 1. So for the electric field to be constant, n is equal to minus 1, and recall for the assumption of the charge density is proportional to r to the power of n, in this case being r to the power of negative 1. So therefore the volume charge density varies inversely with r, distributed throughout the region.